What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Fuchai Squonker. So the random question of the day is, have you ever been to a vape event, whether it be a local shop meetup or a cloud competition or something even bigger like Vape Showcase or ECC, something like that? I want to know. Just drop a comment right down there in the box below. Obviously, I have been to many events, and I will continue to go to them until I can't anymore. I just have this, desire, this burning desire inside of me to just visit all corners of the map and just see what there is to see out there, and vaping events allow me to do that. In fact, this weekend I'm going to Vapor Expo UK, and I'm really excited about it. Can't wait to meet you guys over there, and that's really what it's all about for me. I love just meeting new people and seeing what there is to see in the local cities that I get to visit for a weekend at a time. But with that, I want to hear from you guys. Have you ever been to a vape event? Just drop a comment right down there. Alright guys, so this video is going to be all about this guy right here, the Fuchai Squonker, with a big shout out and thank you going to Sigelei for allowing me to take a look at this device for the purpose of making this video. And yeah, it's a regulated squonk mod that takes 18650s, 2700s, and 21700s as well. I don't own many regulated squonk mods, so this one is definitely up there on my list of my favorites. So taking a look online, this device comes in every different color of the rainbow. You can get it in red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black, and silver. So with that, you have plenty of different color options there to choose from, and it's going to run you only about 48 bucks online, which is an absolute deal. And that includes the RDA as well, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. But with that, let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got the Fuchai Squonk in its original box, so let's quickly take a look around the packaging, and then we'll talk about what's inside. So first and foremost, very simplistic graphics here, just an outline drawing of the device, Fuchai Squonk with a few little blue circly things going around on the outside there. We have the UPC scratch-off authentication, Sigelei Squonk 213, color indication where mine isn't even listed. I guess you would categorize that under other. And then purple color indication on the top as well, with a date and Fuchai. On the back we have some basic stuff, Fuchai Squonk 213 once again, specifications, contents of the box, disclaimers, warnings, more warnings, and this little QR code right there that takes you to their website. Taking a look at what comes in the box, let's see. We have how to use the little Sigelei thing. I can't remember how many points I took off last time. I'm going to say 3. So -3 points for a fold-out booklet there. And we have a nice bound booklet here, which is on the wordy side. So I'm going to knock off another point for that. Yeah, super duper wordy. A little bit of graphics there, but not really anything super special, but there we go. We have the warranty center worldwide thing, blah blah blah, and that's about it. Keep your original receipt. Okay, a little pad of Japanese cotton, all nice and sealed in this bag here, so nice touch that they added that. We have the little QC certification thing there, and an Allen wrench, a little random tiny little Allen wrench there. Now we have our bag of parts and coils. So they actually include a couple of pre-made coils, which are very simple round wire coils there. We have a couple of extra screws, and it looks like a standard pin if you wanted to use the dripper for something besides this mod, which kind of random. And another Allen wrench. I wonder why they included 2. They also give you this vape band, which has a little slit in it, which is for your airflow control, which, I mean, personally, I just feel like that is a massive afterthought on Sigelei's part, and it's already leaking screws, so I just dropped a couple of screws back into the box. These are little tiny baby grub screws that are super duper easy to lose, and yeah, so there's that. Next up, we have a replacement door. So you can actually use this thing not as a squonker and just as a regular mod if you wanted to by using this door here. It's kind of cool, but overall really super duper pointless. I mean, how many people are going to use this thing as a single battery mod? It's a little bit on the larger side for that, if you ask me. And a standard USB micro cable. Nothing special about this whatsoever, and that gets added to the collection. And last but not least, we have the Fuchai Squonk itself, which we'll be taking a look at in greater detail here in just 1 second. Alright guys, let's talk about the specs. First of all, it can either take a single 18650 battery with the included adapter, 2700 battery, or 21700 battery. Its wattage range is 10 to 150 watts. It's a temp control mod, which has a temperature range of 200 degrees to 570 degrees Fahrenheit. The resistance range is 0.1 ohms to 3 ohms. Firing modes include Ni200, titanium, stainless steel 3 304, 316, and 317L, as well as TCR and TFR modes. It has a bottom-feeding squonk design, OLED display screen, bottom-mounted battery door, spring-loaded squonk contact pin with stainless steel 510 threads. It has a micro USB port for charging and firmware updating, high input voltage warning, reverse battery protection, battery imbalance protection, short circuit protection, and overheating protection as well. All right, guys, let's give you a close-up look at this RDA that it comes with. So the drip tip that it has with it is not a standardized size. It's not an 810 or anything. It's kind of their own thing. It's a massive wide bore drip tip up top, as you can see there. And it has this little conical sort of shape going on. It also has these ridges at the top and bottom, which I find uncomfortable, and two little O-rings at the bottom, which don't hold on at all. This thing just kind of slips in and out, no problem, really no resistance whatsoever there, and it's really disappointing. So as far as that's concerned, you can't just use your normal everyday sort of 810 tips. Well, yeah, it fits inside, but looks a little bit goofy and definitely won't hold on there, so that's a little bit disappointing. As far as the top cap is concerned, as you can see here, it has these little ridges on the side, these little tabs, if you will, that lock the cap into place. However, I really just don't think that's kind of necessary, in my opinion, but hey, that's just me. It has a little bit of a bevel on the inside, which is kind of nice, but it doesn't really do much as far as I'm concerned. As you can see, the airflow right there, there's no airflow control on the actual cap itself. You have to use that rubber ring, which makes it look absolutely atrocious. I just think that was a complete and utter afterthought on Sigelei's part there. But there you can kind of get a feel for that shape. It's kind of a rounded off circle, if you will. The build deck is pretty much Velocity style. There's really nothing special going on there. Yeah, my cotton is not the cleanest, I know, but that is what I have built in there. And it's given me pretty decent flavor. Really not a whole lot to complain about there in that department, but this post feels like it's weak. I feel like I can pretty much just bend it with my fingers here, but other than that, the cap barely stays on there with these two O-rings at the bottom here. Very disappointing performance as far as O-rings all around on this device. So on the bottom here, you can see the gold-plated squonk pin and this little adjustment slider right here. Hopefully you guys can see that, but that way, in case the RDA doesn't sit nice and straight on there when you tighten it down, you have a little bit of a wiggle room here, which is kind of nice. So that way it kind of cures all of you guys out there with OCD. So it has the RDA fitting nice and square and flush with the mod itself. So let's get this thing all fired up. So let's just start by putting a battery in it. Actually, I forgot to mention the fact that it does come with a adapter for an 18650. So that comes right inside the tube there. Let's just move that out of the way. It is marked on the battery door itself negative there, as you can see. So that's the terminal that you want to put towards the bottom and lock it into place there. No battery rattle whatsoever with this thing, which is nice. And then you can see the screen pretty much instantly turns on, and it shows your wattage, your resistance, your battery life, and your voltage and all that good stuff there. So as far as changing the settings and navigating the menus, it's pretty darn easy. For power up and down, it's just these two buttons right here, power up, power down, and it goes pretty quick, but you can also adjust it in 0.1 increments. If you click and hold both buttons down at the same time, that is your locking in your resistance for temp control. Speaking of temp control, to get into those functions, just tap the button 3 times, 1, 2, 3. And it brings you to this menu here, which shows power, TI, NI 200, 304, 316, 317. Those are all your various different temp control settings. I'm just going to leave it on power. Holding the power button with the up button here brings you to the preheat adjustment menu if you wanted to do that. The power button and the down button here will lock your buttons. So pretty darn simple button arrangement on this one here. So to fill up your squonk bottle, all you have to do is just kind of pinch at the top part here, and then that door comes off just like that. It has these little thumb grooves here on the sides, which are nice. And then you just remove your squonk bottle, fill it up, pop it back in. And then you want to put your bottom part in there, and then the top, and then it just kind of locks into place with the magnets. It rattles a little bit. I mean, it's kind of annoying, but hey, maybe that's just me. Other than that, you know, you have your micro USB port on this side here for charging and firmware updating, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's otherwise almost identical to the original Fuchai. So with that, let's go ahead and head back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of the video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. Starting off with the pros, and my first pro is the look and the feel. I really love the look and the feel of this device here because it looks just like the original Fuchai 213. Just basically they took out one of the battery slots and shoved a Squonk bottle in there, and that's pretty much it. But with that, I really like it because it looks like the original. I love the original, and therefore I love the Squonk version. And my second pro for this one is you can use it with an 18650, a 2700, or a 21700, and that's just great for me because personally I really feel like running an 18650 on this thing is pretty much pointless. Honestly, I would only ever do it in an emergency where I run out of other batteries to work with. I can always pop an 18650 in there and get a couple extra hours out of it. However, I usually run this thing with a 2700 or a 21700 just because you get that much more battery life out of it. My third pro today is the screen. I really love the screen on this thing because not only is it full color, but also it's very easy to read. You can see your wattage no problem, you can see your battery life no problem, and there's not a whole bunch of stuff just clogging up the screen for no reason. It has all the pertinent information on there and nothing else. And my fourth and final pro for this device is the button placement and the bottle placement. First of all, the button placement, you can hit it with your thumb very, very easily. It's very comfortable to hold in your hand, very ergonomic, and the bottle placement as well. I really like the fact that you can just kind of hit it with your ring finger like this. You can support your mod with your pinky. You're not really going to have this thing flying out of your hand anytime when you're trying to squonk on it. I don't have to actually use both hands and squeeze the bottle or anything like that. It's just super duper comfortable to use. Alright guys, so moving on to the cons. My first con is I cannot stand this RDA. I really don't like it, and I'll give you my reasons. First of all, the drip tip is not a standardized size. It's not an 810, it's not a 510, it's their own thing that they got going on, and they just threw that one at us, and I can't use my own tips. It's also a weird shape. It has like a little kind of conical look to it, and it has these ridges at the top and bottom, which aren't really comfortable to vape on for me. There is no airflow control on this RDA, so if you like a tighter draw, you're pretty much out of luck. With that, the build deck itself is not bad. It's a Velocity style build deck almost to a T, and it's really not bad to build on. However, the posts themselves feel really, really weak. I felt like I was going to break this thing just by building on it once, so I really have not very high hopes for this thing as far as longevity is concerned. The cap really doesn't stay on very tight at all, and it's just kind of wobbly and loose and just, it feels awful. It really feels awful. In my opinion, they should have just left the RDA out of this thing altogether and just shipped it with the mod by itself. Moving on to my second con for this device, the bottle door on this thing is a little bit on the janky side. It kind of rattles around and moves around when you're pushing on it, so I try to avoid that at all costs. Either that or I just try to really grip onto this thing pretty tight so it doesn't move around when I'm squonking on it. It really doesn't have any effect on the performance whatsoever, but it is kind of noticeable when you're just kind of holding on to it. You can kind of feel it just wiggling back and forth. And my third con for this one is the low juice capacity. Now the bottle only holds 5 mils of juice, which is basically like one fill for a sub-ohm tank, and if you're like me, I vape all day every day. One of these bottles is only going to last me about an hour to an hour and a half, so as far as I'm concerned, if you hate refilling sub-ohm tanks, then you're really not going to like this one. And my fourth and final con for this device is the battery door on this thing is a little bit on the suspicious side. Now, nothing has gone wrong with mine yet, but I feel like it's a weak point. It's very kind of rattly and really loose feeling when you have the battery out of this thing, and most of the time when you put your device down, it's going to go on the bottom, which is where the battery door is, which is going to see the most amount of wear and tear. So over time, I feel like that could end up breaking on me. So at the end of the day, is this device worth purchasing? Would I pick one of these up if I didn't get this one in for review? I'm going to say yes to this one, mostly because of the price point. Honestly, for under 50 bucks, you get a really damn decent mod, and the Addy can go right in the trash as far as I'm concerned. But with that, I think the mod is definitely the star of the show when it comes to this kit here, and it's a darn good price. So if you're in the market for a regulated Squonk mod and you don't want to break the bank, then the Fuchai Squonker is probably going to be for you. And I will provide you guys with a link right down there in the description description below if you want to pick one up for yourself. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the Fuchai Squonk or anything else you guys want to discuss down there. Also, make sure you check out the advocacy and my social media links right down there in the box below. Follow me on Twitter. I have a Twitter account. Make sure you just follow me on there. Sometimes I post, sometimes I don't. I don't know. If you want to follow me, go follow me on Twitter. Check it out for yourself. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on.